What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Multiverse Monologues, the podcast show where we like to travel across the multiverses and fandoms that we love to talk about the movies and television shows that accompany those universes. I am your co-host, Ben Rayside, and today on the Marvel Movie Marathon, we've been making our way through Phase 3 of the MCU, and we are continuing that, as well as all the other Marvel films, but we're back in the MCU, a place that we all know and love very much. Today we're talking about Doctor Strange, the second movie in the MCU Phase 3, and this is one that I'm pretty, I remember at least being pretty hot on. But now we're back, and it's been a while since at least that I've seen this one, but I've definitely got some updated thoughts as of 2023, as of the recording of this Doctor Strange podcast. And you know who else I'm sure has some updated thoughts? Mr. Ethan Wensloff. Ethan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, boys. I'm excited to be here. You know, I got my watch on. I'm feeling good. My hands are steady. I'm going to go joyriding later. I hope nothing bad happens. But I'm excited to be here, boys.
So don't be on your phone, all right?
Oh, never. Never would.
This
never
is
would.
definitely the biggest movie that don't text and drive, man. Or else you'll become a superhero. That's what everyone
That's all it takes?
That's all it takes, man.
I'll do it.
It's that easy.
Done.
It's
Done
that
deal.
easy. Also joining us today, as always on the Marvel Movie Marathon, is Mr. Micah Head. Micah, how are you doing?
Doctor Micah Head.
Our apologies, sir.
Excuse you.
He's not actually
You know what?
a
Let's
doctor
go
for
back
those
and do that
listening.
again.
Nice.
Don't
very
move.
nice.
I've come to bargain.
Yeah, see, you want to say how you got these, how you came to own these ones?
There was a little movie coming out called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and the panel up here was like, let's buy them.
Why not?
Let's do it. But we were in a position where we could financially afford the Marvel Legends toy, the Eye of Agamotto. So yes, if you're watching the video, you see me and Micah had these gorgeous blings around our neck.
I feel kind of left out over here. I really do. But
As you should, Ben.
they look very, very nice.
We have to
Very
Did you buy one?
Did not, no.
Really?
Didn't buy one, no.
I thought he bought one. Oh, I guess we're just way cooler
I
than
was
you.
not cool enough, I don't think. Yeah. I wish though. But today, we're not here to talk about Multiverse of Madness. That's a podcast for another day. Also one that we have already talked about, spoiler-filled thoughts when that movie came out.
Back, check that out.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes. But we're here to talk about Doctor Strange. But before we do that, I would ask that you guys go on to our podcast channels on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can also go check them out anywhere else you get your podcasts, but those are the main ones. Leave us a review on there. Write us a review. We know that you guys have been listening. We've gotten a lot of thoughts on YouTube, a lot of comments. We'd love to hear what you guys are thinking about the podcast. Leaving us a review is the best way to do that. So please go onto those sites. That would be greatly appreciated. But gentlemen, I think we've said, let's open our sling rings and head over to the MCU, but this is the movie that really deserves it. So gentlemen, let's open our sling rings and head over to the MCU.
Each of those maps was drawn up by someone who could see in part, but not the whole.
I spent my last dollar getting here. One-way ticket, and you're talking to me about healing through belief.
You're a man looking at the world through a keyhole, and you've spent your whole life trying to widen that keyhole, to see more, to know more. And now, on hearing that it can be widened in ways you can't imagine, you reject the possibility.
No, I reject it because I do not believe in fairy tales about chakras or energy or the power of belief. There is no such thing as spirit.
Dr. Stephen Strange is a brilliant but arrogant neurosurgeon who loses the use of his hands in a car accident. Desperate to find a cure, he travels to Nepal and meets the Ancient One, a powerful sorcerer who teaches him the mystic arts. Strange must learn to control his ego and use his new powers to protect the world from a new, powerful enemy. That is your summary for Doctor Strange. 2016, directed by Scott Derrickson, starring the Batch of Cumber. Whoa.
The
Whoa,
batch of Cumber.
The Batch of Cumber, Benedict Cumberbatch, Ty
Babadook.
Silius, Mads Mikkelsen. This is a pretty stacked cast.
Benedict Wong.
As these Benedict Wong,
What's the
2
girl's name?
Benedicts in this. It's a pretty stacked cast, and I remember it like it was yesterday, sitting in the high school room when the teaser trailer for this
Rachel McAdams.
dropped, and it was the pan in to his car crash, and I was ready for this movie, man. We'd been very much introduced to the street level heroes, say Iron Man and Captain America. We had gotten many movies, 2 trilogies before we got Doctor Strange, and now we're finally journeying into the mystic side of things.
2 phases, to correct you.
Yes. So in 2016, it was safe to say that I was pretty excited, fresh off of the back of Civil War.
Yeah, so going into this, what do you guys know about Doctor Strange before this movie? Because for me personally, everything I know about the character comes from the MCU's portrayal. I just want to know if anyone has any other takes on it.
I remember I watched this and I was like, are you serious? This is so dumb. Magic? What? What grade were we in at this point?
This is
2016.
yeah.
I was 14. I was what, a freshman?
I was a sophomore, yeah.
You're an
I was
intellectual
a
freshman, Micah.
Yep.
November 2016. Yeah. I was like, they are really scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
So-
with Doctor Strange. What a stupid name, too.
Maybe. Who am I to judge? So if you guys remember the show Ultimate Spider-Man that aired on Disney XD,
Oh yeah.
Dr. Stephen Strange made a few appearances in there, and I remember Spider-Man visiting the Sanctum, and there was just a ton of weird artifacts in there, and that's pretty much all I remember. I think he travels to the Dark Dimension, and he battles Dormammu with Doctor Strange. Micah's got something on the screen
My
here.
history with this movie, when this came out, it was maybe 2 years later. I made a Photoshop of my physics teacher, whose name was Dr. Stern, Dr. Steven Stern.
Holy cow.
And I put his face on the poster and changed the words to Stern because it's the same letters, right? Stern. You can find them all in Strange. But yeah, that's pretty much my entire history with Doctor Strange when it came out.
It's a Photoshop.
Yeah, I didn't see it till years later. It was one of those movies I put on while folding laundry.
You didn't watch this in theaters.
I didn't watch this in theaters. This was one of my, I think 2 or 3, maybe 4 movies I can say I definitely watched this while folding laundry because I thought it was going to be a whatever movie.
Really?
I watched this, Black Panther, and
Wow.
Solo. Those were my 3 movies that were like, oh yeah, well, let's just throw something on real quick. And then I ended up getting sucked into it.
Wow. So even at this point, Micah, you really do astound me. You weren't on the full Marvel hype
No,
train.
not at this point. Nope.
Civil War comes out. They have this
I was just there for Spider-Man.
Really?
For Civil War, yeah.
That's astounding.
Doctor Strange, I don't know who this guy
See-
is. I'm not going to watch this movie.
This is when I'm hook, line, and sinker. I'm seeing everything day one at the theaters. Doctor Strange was no exception. I took a group to see Doctor Strange. I was hyped out of my
I knew
mind for this.
no one who saw Doctor Strange when it came out.
Really?
Nobody.
You saw this in theaters,
Oh
right?
yeah, shout out to my sister Hannah and Zach Schultz, loyal listener. I saw this in theaters with those 2. Yeah, I remember seeing it. We didn't go opening night. We went to Sunday night. Went to NCG, which is right over there.
Holy cow.
And we sat in the middle. It was a completely empty theater, though. I remember that. So I know I liked it then. But to me, this is one of those movies that every time I sit down and watch, I like it a little bit more
I wish I saw this
than
in
the
theaters.
last time.
Yeah, see, okay, so
Yeah.
this is perfect. Take us through your thoughts of this time watching it.
Man, so it's by no means the most complex story. The arc of Dr. Stephen Strange is by no means the most complex arc either. But to me, like, the stuff they do right. And every single time the Ancient One is talking to Strange and telling him about what his value should be, the philosophy in this movie that I can pull from this and apply to my own life is just huge, right? It's not about me, right? It's about what can I do to help, right? And that's kind of what it is. He joins the Sanctum because it's all about him. He wants to steady his hands. He wants to get his life back. And I actually looked it up. I wrote the stats down. But it's 20% of suicides are from people who've already retired. And that number is linked because so many people put their identity in their work. And they have no other identity beyond that. And you see Strange go through that in this movie where his identity is being a doctor, and it's being a dang good doctor. And when he loses that, he loses everything. So this movie is about Stephen Strange learning that there's more to life than what he thought was there. And you have many great scenes of the Ancient One kind of talking him through that. So to me, I love this movie for what I can take from it and apply to my own life. Yeah.
So would you say this is the movie, like the first movie that actually has a theme that you can apply? Because has there really been a movie?
Well, so like with great power comes great responsibility is one.
Yeah.
But you mean on this marathon that's something I can directly pull?
Yeah, well,
like
I mean,
for
I guess
note?
even just for MCU, what other movie has such a direct theme than you? I mean, like there's the minor themes in Iron Man where it's like, oh, don't be a jerk.
So those, I would say the main theme of Iron Man is when Jensen points to his heart and he says, "Don't waste your life, Stark.
Yeah.
Don't waste your life." And it's along the same lines as Doctor Strange.
It's not as clear though.
No.
You know, I think this is just so clear, like what they're getting at, what the point of this is.
Yes.
It's like, because
I
at
agree.
the end, his hands, he has the ability to steady his hands, but he knows there's a greater good that I need to help fight. You know, I'm going to protect this sanctum.
Yeah. So my first time watching this movie, folding laundry, thought it was pretty good. I was like, hey, pretty cool stuff. Second time I watched this, I don't know why, but I wasn't too hot on it. It was the last movie I watched before we started the podcast.
Really?
Yeah. It was
Before
the
Howard the
last,
Duck?
Before Howard the... Oh, yeah, because that was the start of the podcast.
Yeah, no.
So I watched...
Me and Ben started much before that.
That's
but
the
Marvel movie
marathon.
Yeah.
Before I committed to not watching any of these other movies, except for the ones that are first coming out, right? Until we watched them in the podcast. Doctor Strange was the last one I watched, and I gotta say I wasn't too hot on it. I don't know why. I didn't like it. But this time, I don't know what I was on. That second time, this was a good movie.
Yeah.
I love this movie. I love the action. I love how lore heavy this movie is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love how it just dumps this stuff on you and doesn't hold your hand. It's like, all right, if you follow along, you follow along. If you're not, sucks for you, man. You better catch up. I love, I'm sure Ben will talk about the score. Some cool stuff
man.
that they don't do in
Holy
any other
cow.
score. I say this frequently for our best movies, but this is a movie that does what it does what no other movie can do. What makes a good movie is when it does things that only that movie can do, and it takes advantage of all those opportunities, and I love it for that.
You talking like mirror dimension and
I'm talking mirror dimension. I'm talking early Doctor Strange stuff that you can't
Yeah,
really pull
okay.
off later on. I'm talking all the Mads Mikkelsen stuff with this other equal power entity that proves that Doctor Strange can hold his own. I'm talking ways that Doctor Strange can outsmart his enemies using just his doctor knowledge. How you see
True,
he's
yeah.
a doctor, so that plays into his origin story. That's what makes his origin story so unique to me, is
Yeah.
that he's using his smartness and his photographic memory to make himself stand out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Tony Stark was smart. We know that because we're told that. But here we see, he looks at...
you see Tony
do see
tinkering
that.
too.
Yeah,
though,
but
and-
we see Doctor Strange glance at the Dormammu page,
Right.
and he's like, "Who's Dormammu?
Mm-hmm.
What are these threats? What are these like things going on here? What are the?" I didn't get to that page yet. I mean, I saw everything on the pages I saw, but I didn't see the warnings, right? And
they should put the warnings before the
oh
spell.
man,
Yeah.
there's some cool stuff in this
And I
movie.
love how that line pays off later.
Yeah.
In not just in this movie, but in No Way Home, when it's not till after the spell gets botched, where he tells Peter like what should have happened. You know, I like it's like poetry.
Yeah,
It rhymes.
I love all of the time stone stuff. We get to see the beginnings. Is this the second stone we've seen
No.
used?
I think this might
So,
be the fourth.
Direct.
Fourth?
So
All right, so we had Guardians of the Galaxy, right? That was the first.
they're still like vague at this point. So
Okay.
You have the Tesseract, which the shell hasn't been broken yet. We're not.
Yep.
As an audience, we don't fully know that that's
So
a
that's
stone.
not a stone
It
yet.
is, but we don't know that. We have Loki's scepter, which we're still that was
mind.
put in. Yeah, his mind, and then we've seen the ether, the red one from Dark World, and the Power Stone
Power
from
Stone, and
Guardians.
now so we have 5 now. Yeah, you're right.
Was this the first one where they're like, introduce same movie, call it an Infinity Stone,
Power
use it?
Stone was
At
introduced.
this
For sure,
point,
right?
they have a plan and they're building to Infinity
Like,
War.
Yeah.
This is the first movie where you see a stone and you go, "Wow." That, like, because
That's power.
in Guardians you see the Power Stone.
Yes.
There's power to that. There is. But this one, you see the Time Stone and you go, "Man, wouldn't it be great to have a Time Stone?"
It's used throughout the movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wanted the Eye of Agamotto, and I bought it. So now I can control time. You're welcome, guys.
But I like how you say that this movie takes advantages of the unique examples that only this movie can have, only a Doctor Strange movie can have. And that's the biggest prop that I will give this movie, because the writing and how imaginative they make this world, the world building in and of itself is something absolutely spectacular. I will say, as much as it is, in a way, it almost becomes a problem. I almost think that this movie should be an extra half an hour.
It is very tight.
It's
Tight
very
runtime,
tight,
yeah.
and there's a good section of this movie,
Not even 2 hours.
for about 20 minutes, where literally Doctor Strange is walking around and they are just explaining to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to me, most of, if not all of what they're saying is extremely interesting.
It's how they say it. I love how they
Yes.
explain things in this movie.
But upon a rewatch and to a regular bit of audience, you may want a little bit more of that. And I think, given the longer runtime, it might be a little bit more manageable. I think there's so much you can cram into this movie, a Doctor Strange movie. That, I mean, there's so much heavy lifting that the exposition has to do. So I think that is a blessing and a curse. Definitely more of a blessing, because the exposition mixed with the special effects, which I might go ahead and say that this is the MCU's best use of special effects that
the
we've
mirror
seen
dimension
so
is
far.
crazy. Yeah, you take what Nolan was able to do in Inception in the dream sequences, but
Yes.
then you like kind of go, what if we just went completely buck wild? And you do. There are some shots where you're just really impressed, and it just looks so cool visually.
And I love how they use the different angles of mirrors to portray depth, where they can run in front of a mirror, and it's like there's a whole nother path into the mirror dimension you didn't even think about until it changed angles just slightly, and then they run into it. It was insane to me. I love how the final scene right before he goes to Dormammu, where he's using the time stone to reverse everything, and you're seeing people come back to life.
Yeah.
Like, you see this guy dead on the ground. He flies up into a car,
That's
and
neat.
you're
Yeah, that's cool.
whoa, that's so sick. You see buildings go back up.
See Wong come back
You
to
see
life.
Wong come back to life, and he's like, "Oh, I know. I'm breaking the natural world. Well, at this point, keep going. I mean,
Don't stop now.
don't
Yep.
stop now."
Yep. So
Very cool. I think that's. I'll come back to the reversing later with my favorite scene, but
I'll say this, and I've been pretty hot on this movie in the past. This is probably the watch through where I noticed a lot of the issues that I have with this movie. It's
not perfect, yeah.
It's not a perfect movie for sure. And it's not, I wanted this to be up there with the greats as far as my list personally goes. And I couldn't give it that extra oomph up to like the higher scores. I'm not going to give away my score now, but there were just some things where I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, I can't give it that high of a score. Like, I wanted this to be better, but there are just some things that I'm not the biggest
Name
fan
them.
of.
What kind of things are you thinking about?
Well, the first one is how short it is.
okay. Yeah.
How short it is. I kind of explained that one already. The first one is how short it is. The next one is the humor. The humor really does not work for me in this one.
I thought quite a few of them worked, and I feel like they used it a bit more sparingly than some of the other Marvel movies of the time.
That I will agree with
Especially when
you.
everything was following the Guardians of the Galaxy curve right now.
Yeah,
This is a lot more
So,
tame.
Really tame.
I
think.
agree. The only joke that I think works in this movie is when Stephen Strange says, "Man, people used to think I was funny," and Wong says, "Quickly, did they work for you?" And that's a pretty funny joke. Other than that, the
What about
humor
Wong
is
laughing
not,
at the end?
It's not.
No,
I liked it.
It's not
It
exactly like
feels
a
very forced.
humor filled movie though either.
No, but you can tell they have those. Like what? There's a whole scene that is introduced when Strange comes up and talks to him about the names, and then instantly the next scene is him listening to Beyonce and he's stealing the books from the page. Like,
Well, he's got to do his research.
there could, yeah, and yes, but there could have been time
Between that.
between that. I think it's too quick.
Totally.
The joke pays off too quickly.
I think that's because it's a new IP. It has to not like new to the Marvel, but new to the MCU. So they want to be bold. They want to make it different from the other movies, but they also need to play it safe for the casual viewers who may have not gone for the lore, but they're there for the blockbuster of November.
And that's one of my biggest
And that's a
issues.
gripe.
But that's my biggest issue
Yeah.
with this, because think about Harry Potter. The first Harry Potter movie is 2 hours and 40 or so minutes.
Are you serious?
Because they have to introduce you to that world. Check on how long that is. It's a pretty beefy runtime, the first and second Harry Potter films.
I remember it being long.
But they have to introduce us to this world, and I think Doctor Strange
2.5.
Yeah. Oh, Doctor Strange's world is so rich with mythology and storytelling that the runtime, the short runtime, it's an hour 57. It hurts it so much. There is so much to this world. I want to see more of it. And because it's a Marvel film, because it has to play by the formula, I feel like it takes away from what could be a really spectacular
See,
film.
you throw that word formula out there, but I feel like this is the least formulaic movie we've seen in like the whole marathon, with how it goes and how he takes down Dormammu in the end. It's completely different. Like that, the structure of this movie is a lot different than how these normal Marvel movies go. You open up, you have an action sequence, right? And then you really, 12 minutes into the movie, he crashes a car. That's quick. That's too quick. But like the whole middle, there aren't really like action sequences. There's a fight. There's like 3, and I know whatever maybe, but they feel different than how a normal set piece would feel in a Marvel movie, because they use the set pieces here to explore the world.
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
like
They needed more room for lore.
right. Yeah.
So I did a runtime check halfway through when Caecilius attacks the Sanctums all across the world. And that's about an hour into the film. There's an hour left. From then on, it's action until the very end. Between Caecilius, Doctor Strange, Mordo, and then Dormammu at the end, there's brief explanations of what's going on in between each scene, but it's action, 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 action throughout the whole thing. He gets
The
his
kind
cape.
of action is different though, and the breaks
yes.
from action are great. The
I
scene
agree.
with Strange and the Ancient One. That's a top 10 MCU scene for me personally.
Yeah, that's where my gripes are going to stop, because I really do. I have a lot of love for this movie. It's
I have
just
a
this
couple more
time,
gripes.
a lot of gripes.
Yeah,
were
you watch a certain movie
Evident.
5-6 times, you're gonna get tired of it. You're gonna get tired of aspects of it. So totally.
yeah.
Well, what do you guys think about Christine Palmer? Do you guys think that's one of the bigger criticisms of the movie is how Christine wasn't used in a very deep way? All she was there to do was to say, "Strange, you're egotistical. See ya."
I'll tell you what though, the kiss on the cheek, love that. It's like
I bet you love that.
no, because it was an earned moment. It wasn't like they're making out here.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's a,
And I'm
like,
glad they did
yeah.
subtle,
It was
like,
like a forgiveness
like,
kind of.
yeah. That I liked, and yeah, she's not in a ton of the movie, but I think what she's in is good. Like she's the one who first introduced the idea, like, Stranger's more to life. You got to find a different purpose than just being a doctor. She introduces this idea into him.
I agree. As a love interest, Christine Palmer falls by the wayside.
Yeah,
but
like
they're
a
not
5
using
out of
her.
10.
They're not using her as a love interest. They're using her to develop Strange as a person. And I also will say this, she might not be the best in this, but how they use Christine Palmer in everything else, especially in What If, I think really solidifies why she's necessary for Strange as a character.
Yeah, and like how they used Mordo in the next movie based on this canon.
How they should have
This
used
canon
him.
Mordo. Yeah.
Peak. Yeah,
So
we're gonna
cool.
talk about that one. That's a good complaint, though. I don't have that one.
What
I
about
don't
for
have it.
Kaecilius? Do you guys think that they wasted an A-list actor such as Mads Mikkelsen on just one movie instead of a multi-movie character?
That's a good point, because I noticed at the end, no one dies. These villains don't die. Dormammu takes them and leaves.
Yeah.
At the end of Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange goes into the Dark Dimension. We could very much see this whole cast back. So,
Oh, sick. I didn't even think of that.
yeah, we could. So, yeah, I think they could have utilized him more, but he fades away. He doesn't die. So he's still on the board, I'd say.
I loved Mordo's character motivations in this. So he is...
Yeah, Mordo's good.
He's trying to be lawful good, right? He's
Yeah.
trying to be playing by the book, doing everything right.
Do everything right because the Ancient One does everything.
Yeah, because the Ancient One doesn't
Yeah.
really... And now the Ancient One doesn't do everything right. And now his whole worldview is changing. What is the lawful good approach to every situation here? And we've seen that post-credit scene. No one should have. Now he's chaotic good. Now no one should have this power because
like-
no one is deserving.
It's like when you finally grow to an age where you realize your parents aren't perfect, and you're like, wait, what
Well, what do you
hold
mean?
on, like what?
My parents are perfect.
Micah
Santa's
hasn't hit
real.
that age yet, I guess.
Yeah, the Easter Bunny's coming soon.
So, Kaecilius, back to him. The character of Kaecilius is something that's very interesting, I think.
Kaecilius and two goons.
Or I should say, could have been very interesting. He has a backstory, but it's not really explored. It's
implied.
alluded to in this movie, but there is a comic pre-Doctor Strange set in the MCU where it's alluded to, and it's shown in this comic that he loses everything, his family, and that forces him or propels him to get this knowledge at Kamartaj. But that's never explored in the film. There's no depth to his character. He is just evil for the sake of evil,
And I
or so
think-
we are led to believe.
As far as his motivations go in the movie, I actually wrote it down. I thought they were pretty strong because he's like, we're all bound to this thing known as time. End of the day, everyone dies. We're all enslaved to time, right? It's not me versus you, it's us versus time. And his goal is to join Dormammu, who is in a dimension without time, and have that rule where there is no time, where time doesn't rule. So that, for me, that really worked because it felt like we don't expound on who he is and what he went through, but as far as like that raw motivation goes, I really liked that.
But I feel like as a viewer, that's not enough to attach me to the character. Getting to a dimension that is beyond time does not do it for me.
Right.
I like how
As a
this,
motivation.
I like how, whatever motivation, how his character is there solely to introduce us to the concept of time in the MCU as not only a set piece, but kind of a character. Now, time is a villain. Time is the enemy of all of these characters. They're growing weaker. They're growing, the multiverse is against them now. With Loki, we see all of this. And just dropping little sprinkles of certain villains having their powers be multiverse related is very cool to me to see early on.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't really that early on anymore. We're in phase 3, but before the multiverse saga,
Yeah.
we're seeing this, and it's really cool.
Another thing that I really, really enjoy about this movie, I've talked enough about the bads that I don't like, is Stephen Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch. I think he's fantastic in the role.
People hate him.
I understand that, but I can't understand it.
No.
I don't know where they're coming from. From the start of the movie, you can call it quick that he gets in the car crash. I personally think it kind of flows well. He sits on the doorstep of Kamartaj for 5 hours. They
Right.
finally let him in, and he learns all of this stuff. And as he figures out, like, I love when he's talking to the Ancient One and he's using these medical terms. So you figured out how to reorient the cells, and he's using these like scientific terms. And then the
cellular
Ancient One's just like, in a way, we use.
She uses this great analogy with a keyhole.
Yeah.
And you've been trying to
Widen the
the
keyhole.
keyhole, but now that your whole life you've been trying to widen this keyhole, but now that I give you something that tells you you can widen that keyhole, you refuse to believe me.
Yeah.
I think the dialogue, any scene between the Ancient One and Strange, I think the dialogue is written so well, and I get engulfed in what I'm like sitting there, whatever the Ancient One's saying, I'm like writing down like, wow, that's a good, I'm going to apply that to my life.
I'm gonna put that on my wall.
That's really good.
See,
Yeah.
it was so good that there was a tribute that came out after Endgame, and they panned across Captain America, and especially Iron Man was the highlight, and they used the Ancient One's dialogue. Death
Cool.
is what gives life meaning. We don't get to choose our time. Like, and it was this great tribute, but the Ancient One's word, it's all because of how great she is in this movie, and that's
Who wrote this?
And that's it. She's in Endgame. She makes an appearance there, but I agree, Ethan. She's got some fantastic lines of dialogue. And then right after that, she's like, open your mind. We get probably the most fantastic, visually stunning scene
yeah.
in the MCU so far as he goes through these multiverses. What
don't
would
know.
you call what he...
The movie uses multiverse,
Right.
but I think maybe at this point of time in the MCU and what they viewed as a multiverse is a little different than what it turns out to be in later films. But they use the term multiverse for
Right.
it. Yeah.
This universe is one of an infinite number, is what I think she says. Yeah, yeah. Ancient One's great. Controversy that it should have been old Tibetan man monk. I can see if you're a fan of the comic character, I can see your gripes. I personally was never. I'd never read
I'm
or picked up.
impressed by this Ancient One portrayal.
I
I mean,
yeah.
we're whatever comic book accurate. I don't care.
Yeah.
This is a fair trade. I love Tilda Swinton's portrayal of
From
this
Narnia,
character.
bro.
This is the especially because now we
White
do
Witch.
have a multiverse. Now,
Yeah.
like, this is the MCU's interpretation of the Ancient One.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that, especially because she did so well, Tilda Swinton. And yes, you bring up Narnia, have to shout out Narnia. As a kid sitting in the theaters watching this, I'm like, oh, that's the
nerds.
White Witch or whatever her face was in that. That's good stuff, man.
Going back to Caecilius, how do you guys feel this compares to other MCU villains? So we've seen bunch of different ones so far. We've seen villains from heroes. We've seen heroes turn to villains. Where are we like ranking this? Is this one of the better villains in our opinion, or is this kind of like a shell of a villain? Do you think
He's definitely not like
just
the
there
worst.
to have the origin story? Does this fall
I
into
think
that
if we're
Iron
doing
Man
like
1?
we're drawing a line, I say he's just above like I think he's just barely good.
Okay.
You know,
I'd say so too.
I don't think he's bad. I'm trying to think like who's the bad? Like Whiplash, we throwing him in there.
Absolutely.
Is he the bad? Who else we got in the bad category?
We got
Malekith.
Killian.
Malekith is no good. See, Caecilius is along those lines for me. He's not very good.
Redface.
Red Skull.
Red
Skull?
Yeah.
No, Red Skull. Well, as far as motivate, I just like Red Skull. But yeah, he's lower on the list. There's no way that this stacks up to Loki, Bucky. Like
No.
this is way better. Those are way better than this for sure. At least,
I liked how when Doctor Strange is like, "Oh yeah, you guys are stuck in the mirror dimension where you can't affect the outside world."
Yeah.
And then Caecilius is like, "Idiot! Guess you should have read the warnings, cause we're actually better in the mirror dimension, sucker."
Mordo actually says that. He's like,
Oh, okay.
It's like they've mastered the arts here. They're stronger here. And he's
fool.
like, it's like, oh, shoot.
clever. This
Yeah.
is suicide.
Man, and I gotta say, like, the relics are just so cool.
What an awesome idea. That opens up so
Right,
much
I'm like-
lore in the
I
MCU.
think when there's
So
that
possibilities.
box and they're just handing out sling rings. Like, man, what goes into that sling ring?
Yeah.
To
I
where,
gotta get one.
They can mass produce
because
them.
Doctor Strange, he cannot open a portal without that sling ring. We even know, like, in Spider-Man No Way Home, he gets trapped, right? He needs a sling ring to open the portal. So, like, what is encapsulated in that sling ring, and how do I get one?
Yeah, one single unicorn hair.
Yeah, if I never need a car, dude, just sling everywhere I'm going.
You know, this actually, when they were practicing using the portals, one of my biggest gripes with No Way Home is that Ned
just
opens
gets
a
it,
portal
yeah.
right there and then.
He's got magic in his blood.
So I don't like that because it's never established until that point just so they can do that. What I do like, though, is the explanation of why and how you can make those work to your advantage. They say the clearer you can picture this, the easier time you will have to open up a portal. So when Ned opens up a portal for Peter Parker, he instantly is able to picture his best friend. That's how he's able to open it up so quickly.
To two different Peter Parkers.
That is how I am choosing to look at that scene from No Way Home now.
I think he's
Now
just
it
got
makes sense.
too much magic in him.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah, he overflows
I mean,
it.
look at Ned Leeds.
I mean,
man.
you
He's-
saw the other guys in
beautiful.
Doctor Strange. They were able to conjure a portal pretty. I mean, we don't know how long it took, but still, they were able to do it. And they said that they established in this movie that magic is not based on like your abilities or skill or whatever. It's just based on your belief in it, basically.
Yes.
Right. I don't remember the exact quote, but it was like,
Your mind is limiting you.
yeah. That's what
Or
it's
no,
kind of like
he's-
with
he-
Green
he's-
Lantern.
He's like, my hands don't allow me to do it. And
Yeah.
she brings out the other guy, and he does
Master
it with no
Hamia.
hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not your hands, it's your mind that's limiting you.
Mm-hmm.
Something Strange never wants to hear, that his mind is the thing letting him down.
Something that did not let us down in this movie, at least the score by Michael Giacchino. I believe it's his first
I can check
in the
that.
MCU. Check that. Fact check me, but I think it's his
My
first.
lost alum.
Listen, man, he does such good work on this film. The
first
Strange
one.
theme is done very well.
Very
Go
strange.
listen to Go for Baroque and Strange Days Ahead. Those two are particularly fantastic, and then also the end credits theme, very, very good. And I think the score is one of the best in this whole marathon that we've gotten yet. Michael Giacchino, he never disappoints. He does the music also for Spider-Man Homecoming. Well, the whole Spider-Man Home trilogy does not disappoint.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he should have leaned into the harpsichord more. That would have been cool.
I think he did.
I think
Not gonna lie.
I didn't notice it as much as I wish I did. Like, ooh, this would have been a cool spot. It was there.
So, in the marathon, we've had some pretty cool costumes. You know, some superhero suits
This one's sick.
come along the way. This one's up there, right? As like maybe top 5 easily, right? This is a top tier suit.
We got to talk about superhero costumes.
Yeah, we do.
Deadpool, his is up there for
yeah.
sure. Deadpool,
Iron Man, depending
Iron
on
Man,
which
yep.
which mark we're talking.
Which mark are you talking though?
What's his mark in Iron Man 1?
Mark 3.
Mark 3. I like Mark 3.
Hot Rod.
Hot Rod
Throw a
Red.
little
Yeah.
Hot Rod
That might
Red
be
in
my
there.
favorite. But Iron Man's got so many great suits though.
Yes.
The briefcase suit, the Endgame suit. Just name it. Spider-Man, Raimi Spider-Man, I think is a solid suit. If we're doing
Yes.
Spider-Man, you can throw
Yep.
2099 suit is sick.
Andrew in there. Yeah.
Amazing
And
Spider-Man
Across
2.
the Spider-Verse
Talking
2099.
live action. Yeah.
And I'm glad
Oh.
you highlight this
Oh.
because the costuming for this whole movie is who's in the costume department for
I don't
Doctor
know.
Strange? You probably don't have that one. You probably have
I
to
can look it up,
IMDb
though.
that one. But every costume, Mordo's costume, the bright green, the ancient one with the yellow
Alexandra
hues,
Byrne.
dude. Is that I'm assuming Alexandra?
know.
She did a fantastic job.
She did Guardians. She did. Oh, get this. The Flash 2023. Let's go.
Shout
Listen,
out.
man.
She did Age of Ultron, The Avengers, Thor. Phantom of the Opera. That's sick.
Strange has got to be top 5, maybe even top 3.
So she's got a thing for capes. She got Phantom of the Opera. She got Doctor Strange.
There you go. I think, yeah.
300.
Thank you
Rise
for
of an
highlighting
Empire.
that. I completely
And
forgot.
I love that the relics that in the world, kind of like wands in Harry Potter, they choose you.
You don't
right?
know how to use that, do you?
Yeah, yeah, but like, what a cool relic to pick you. The cloak of levitation, man.
And it's got personality.
Like, he already has a cool suit with the robes. Then you throw that cloak on there, and like, the cloak saves his life like 4 times in this movie. Doctor Strange would be dead. We'd have no character without this cloak. And it's got, like, in the Thor movie, in the 4th Thor movie, they kind of turn Mjolnir. They try to give it the personality that they give the cloak, but they do that randomly in Thor 4.
Yeah.
This, right off the bat, they're like, all right, the cloak's going to have personality.
Yeah.
It's going to be a character on its own. And I love to see that. It's such a cool relic.
And you know what? Doctor Strange would have died if not for how smashing this did in the box office. $678 million globally.
Interesting.
With a budget of 165.
So he definitely made
Made
its
about
money
4
back.
times its budget.
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff.
It's good stuff.
That's as
Yeah.
far as Marvel movies go, especially now. That's pretty low.
Yeah, it didn't make nearly as much as its sequel, which is a good thing. You want it to make a bunch more, but
The sequel,
the sequel made 955 mil.
Multiverse of Madness,
It
did.
might be up more now. I haven't checked.
Holy cow!
You even updated your graph.
Wow,
A good amount, yeah.
interesting. So this was
Yeah, 955 right now. 0.8. Yep.
no wonder they waited so long to make a sequel. Huh.
It was the one.
Well,
right
they
after No Way
beefed
Home,
up
right?
his role in Endgame and Infinity War because
Which
Yeah.
his role in Infinity War particularly is awesome. And I love to see them, like, because now rumors are that a 3rd Strange movie is going to come out before the next 2 Avengers movies. I'm loving that.
Yes.
They're saying that Strange is going to be a key character in the next 2
Good.
Avengers movie. Keep doing that.
Has
He's
to
one of the heroes now that you see and you go, yeah, that's Marvel. Like, when you lose your Tony, you lose your Cap. This guy I think is there to where he can be that next guy up.
And I think so. What makes this such an interesting movie for me is specifically what he means to the MCU, and I think we've kind of lost that in very much recent projects. Doctor Strange is a huge character with a ton of power and a ton of potential to mess things up or have influence on the MCU. So you have to take him seriously, so you're that much more invested in the character. Fast forward to 2022, and we have a show about She-Hulk. 2 very different characters with 2 very different... I just am not invested as much as I am in She-Hulk. Why are we getting these projects about She-Hulk? And you're wondering why there's not as much fan investment.
We do get some Wong and She-Hulk, though. Let's clear that up.
Probably the best part of She-Hulk. Let's be honest here.
And Matt Murdock.
Yeah, Matt Murdock.
Well, that's a good point. Actually, yes.
Is this the first time in the MCU? Would you guys say that this is the first canon multiversal diversion? Or whatever you want to
You
call
mean
it?
like, because he does stuff in this movie that
Yeah, 'cause, like, they
the
go back to-
TVA might get involved.
They go
with.
back to Avengers in Endgame, right?
Yeah.
And that would be like the earliest point. But would this be the first in the original canon MCU timeline where the multiverse is split?
Well, you never
Because
know.
he uses too much.
Yeah.
He may have been, headcanon here, the first sorcerer to really not care about the warnings or not read
grab
about
the time stone.
Yeah,
and
grab the
really
time
go
stone.
Crazy, yeah.
work some magic, create a branch.
A branch
Just like
was
that.
definitely made.
Yeah.
Many branches, probably.
I mean, he saved all of the world with a branch.
I guess it didn't really matter because the TVA didn't come in.
And at least Wong showed up.
That's,
Wong survived, so.
that's true.
They explained that in Loki, though, why certain things don't happen, right?
Right, yeah.
Why certain
Like
branches are
the
canon.
Avenger, they say, they use a quote, what the Avengers were supposed to do was supposed to happen. But Loki,
Yeah. And same thing with, like, we were exploring that in the Spider-Verse movies, too. what a canon event is and what isn't. And we can see that canon events could be issued with multiverse counterparts too,
Yeah.
which is very interesting. Can't wait to talk about it.
And you have that
Spider-Verse.
whole what if episode revolving. What's the term they use in What If? It's not canon event.
They don't. Do
Ooh.
they use incursions?
No. It's
I'll
not
have to
Nexus
rewatch.
Point. It might be whatever the term they use. Like Laura Palmer's, is that her name? No, Christine Palmer.
Yeah.
Christine Palmer's death in the What If episode. Like we see Doctor Strange
flashpoint.
use the
It's a
time stone
fixed
over and
point.
over. He
A
tries
fixed
fixed
point
point.
in
There
time.
you go.
Crushed
Good.
spaghetti noodles.
Yeah. Yeah.
The X-Men spaghetti
X
noodles.
spaghetti.
Oh no, the Flash spaghetti noodles.
Stan Lee
Yeah.
during the.
This is hilarious.
Was he reading the cosmic horror guy?
I wrote it down.
Like the strange love. Like no. It's H.P. Lovecraft. Was he reading
No,
H.P.
he wasn't.
Lovecraft?
He was reading like
He was reading Aldous Huxley's The Doors of Perception
Oh,
while laughing at it.
interesting.
Yes.
That
This
is
is hilarious.
hilarious.
I doubt that's a funny book.
It was to him though.
yeah, it did.
Good Stanley
Killed
cameo.
him. Yeah.
End credits.
Yeah.
Get a little-
Oh, it is about the
Tease.
themes of the movie though, which is cool.
Oh, there you go.
pretty fun. Yeah, we've hit a point
He
where
filmed his cameos for Doctor Strange, Guardians 2, and Homecoming on the same day.
good,
wow.
good guy. Look at him making his rounds. No, but yeah, the post credit scenes. We're at this point where they're kind of like, oh, just pull that clip from that next movie. Just throw it in there. They did that with whatever they put at the end of Ant-Man. They had a clip from Civil War. So at the end of this, they have a clip from Ragnarok just in there.
I mean, it started with what was the movie right before Avengers, where they just had the teaser. So trash. Worst post-credit scene ever.
Captain America.
Captain America.
Well, you can accuse No Way Home of doing that same thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
No Way Home's post-credit scenes are terrible. That's one of the worst.
Was
parts
this one of the
movie.
first back to formula
Back to formula.
post-credit scenes?
I mean, this was a good
Yeah, I
post-credit
can't
scene,
wait to
man.
see Mordo in the
Thor,
next
bro.
one.
I'm talking
the
about the
mid-credit?
first one.
Well,
the
the
mid-credit
Mortal
scene.
one is really cool too. If they followed up
been.
with that.
Well, they were
I remember
supposed
I
to,
watched this
dude.
movie before Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness came out, and I was pumped. That was in my predictions list, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, guys, I cannot wait to see what they do with Mordo.
In the original storyboards, they do have Mordo being a part of it.
What-
He's hunting down sorcerers, and in the storyboards, he's hunting down the Scarlet Witch. The Scarlet Witch is way powerful, so she absolutely obliterates him. But they wanted to make the reveal when Strange figures it out. You figure it out with the audience. But I personally think it would have been way cooler to see Wanda wipe the floor with Mordo.
And I mean, but now like cutting that out, he could still be alive in our MCU, and that also goes into them handing off the direction, right? They
True,
switch
yes.
of directors. What is it? Scott Derrickson did this.
Scott Derrickson, yep,
Yeah.
this was his only Marvel movie.
That's true. It's a good point. Gentlemen, I think it's
Raimi's set up for possibly Avenger director.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's a good point. Good plug right there, man. That would be great, I think.
Can you imagine a sub 2 hour
Make a good
Avengers
movie.
movie because Raimi's so quick? Raimi is concise.
Nah,
All right.
if they give him the reins, dude, he'll go far.
Throw Toby in there. Yeah.
All right, boys. Favorite character. This has got a lot of good
Yeah,
ones.
it does. Yeah.
A lot of good ones to pick from, and I'll shoot Micah this question first. Who's the best?
Ooh,
I'm the best.
I'm gonna say my favorite character of this film is oh, I don't want to just go with Strange, but I might just have to.
Go with him, yeah.
I'll go with Strange because I mean, this is such. I said it earlier. He's such a bold character to put out at this point in MCU, because at that time I didn't watch it because it was a new character. To put out a new character in the middle of Phase 3, that's crazy, and they take it in all the right directions to me. They've got the tragic story of him losing his fingers, losing his hands, and his whole life invested in his work, like what Ethan said. And now he's got nothing. He throws all of his money at it. He throws the money he doesn't even have to try to compensate, to try to get this back. And he can't. But in the power of magic and the friends we made along the way, he figures something out.
He gets it done.
Yeah.
His arc is
Love
fantastic.
his powers. I don't care how quick he learns it. Like that. That's just because he's a doctor. It's fine. They say, "Oh, I got my master's and my doctorate the same year. Works for me. All right, keep it moving."
You can do a lot with a photographic memory.
Yeah, it was believable to me that this character that they introduce us to can become a sorcerer in 45 minutes.
Yes. Yeah. And they do a good job at like letting you know how trashy this guy is right off the bat. You're like,
Especially the way he treats his other
I
doctor.
don't really like this guy.
He's kind of like House.
Which
You guys seen House?
that same doctor comes in. He sits next to him in the wedding in Doctor Strange 2, and he's like, "You guys suck. You Avengers suck, man.
Yeah.
You destroyed everything."
I
That's
don't
a
remember
good
much
scene.
of Multiverse of Madness. I can't wait to watch that again.
Yeah, that's going to be good stuff.
I only watched that in theaters.
Ethan.
No, yeah, he had a great pick with Strange, but I'll go the opposite of that. I'll go the Ancient One.
Okay.
I think she's great, and just the relationship those two have, and kind of how she's the one that shows Doctor Strange not only like gives him a purpose, but she also shows him that it's okay to break the mystic rules sometimes if it's for the quote unquote greater good, right? Like by all means, use the time stone to go back in time and save him in the end, right? And
Yeah.
she did.
Oh.
She did tap into the dark dimension to stay young, but I love their relationship and everything she says to him. And the last scene, I'm forgetting the whole dialogue. Do you know the dialogue that they exchange in that last
Which
scene
one are you
together?
looking for?
The scene where she dies.
Yeah.
Oh, she's on
Yeah.
the. Here I am stretching out a mere moments into millions of experiences or whatever.
That's really when Doctor Strange accepts, like, yeah, this is my purpose, and this is what I want to live for. I want to live for this, right? It's about finding meaning in the greater things in
You can
life.
go back to your old life with the power you have, and the world would be all the lesser for it.
Yes, right there. Good quote, Ben. That I think her relationship with Strange, what like the quotes she says that I can apply to my own life, my
Yeah.
own walk.
Stretching one
and-
moment out into the 1,000.
Yeah,
Just so that I could watch the snow.
Yeah, she's really good, and I just think that whatever she says, I'm able to apply to my own life as a Christian and as just someone living life. It's all really applicable to me.
Yes.
Are you going to become a sorcerer?
Yeah, Sorcerer Supreme, man.
All right.
Great power,
You
man.
already got the eye.
I like how they don't just give him Sorcerer Supreme at the end of this. It's not just the gold medal for blowing up the Death Star. This is cool.
As far, yeah, like so.
Like the world will be unprotected for a little bit.
So, like, cool superheroes need their cool layers, right? Obviously, this is no Batcave.
Ooh.
There's no Batcave.
Good one.
But the Sanctum is there, right? Where does the Sanctum rank? Like, what else do we have as far as layers
I
go?
wish they
We've
would
got
explore
Tony's
the Sanctum
mansion.
more.
Yeah, Tony's mansion, his basement, his
We got
garage.
Cap's.
If you're going the
Apartment?
most famous, you got to go Batcave.
Yeah, you go Batcave, but this is
The
this
Sanctum
is
is
up there.
epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter's apartment.
That's a good layer.
Oh,
is a good one,
The
though.
Big Hero 6 layer.
Oh, true, true.
Did you put the van up? The van's still up on the shelf. What's it doing up there?
The X Mansion.
I screwed up.
Oh my goodness. Here, hang on. I'll get it.
Ben's
All
gonna
right.
Ben's gonna
While
go
he's
grab
getting
it.
the thing, I'm gonna run through scores. Oh no, Ben, you still got a scene, right?
Ben's
still have
got
a
a
scene?
scene. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going too fast. aren't
I gotta talk in the mic here. You are going too fast. I haven't even said my favorite
Sorry,
character.
it's 11:30.
Yeah, it's a late one, boys. It's a late one. Real quick, my favorite character is going to be Wong. It was going to be Doctor Strange, but it's already been taken, so I'm going to go
off
with
the table,
Wong.
yeah.
Wong is absolutely fantastic,
What about guys in
especially
this?
because of the beast that he becomes. But I want to shout out a character who's just in for a
Beast
quick
in the
second, and
sheets,
also in the
more
end
like.
credit scene, Jonathan Pangborn. I think the actor who plays him and the scene that he's in,
The paralyzed dude,
my
right?
mind was elevated.
Yeah.
Like the way that he talks to Strange in that, I love it.
He has a lead role in a show that came out this year, directed by Ryan
Really?
Johnson, Poker Face, really good show. Like, recommend anyone listening.
That
to
was
go
advertised a
watch that.
long time to death, and I just didn't want to watch because of
It's a
it.
good show on Peacock. Yeah, worth your
Okay.
time. Totally.
Benjamin Bratt.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I was like, I want.
Oh,
I
who's
feel like
Ernesto de la Cruz in Coco?
he could do a good show. I feel like he could lead a show for sure. Just talking favorite scenes. This one I'm also gonna shoot to you, Micah. Favorite scene in Doctor Strange.
My favorite scene is when he is on his first study session at that first study montage of him at Carmitage, where he's like reading all these books. He turns them into Wong. You read all these? Yeah. And then he brings him to come with me. Brings him to the other library. This is for the more experienced people. I want to get you started with this. I want you to get started with this. And it's all these like cool words that I don't know about and I want to know about. And it's like, I love lore dumps, man. Lore dumps are awesome
dumps are
because they don't hold your hand, and Marvel holds your hand too much.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. And then you see Strange just like, oh yeah, I understand this now because I just read the book. So cool to me.
Lore dumps are not Marvel's specialty, but they do it good in this one. I like that a lot. Ethan.
Yeah. I'll just take the scene between the Ancient One and
Oh, dang.
Doctor Strange at the. Which one are you gonna take the end scene? I'll give you that one. I'll take the one in their first main interaction where she's talking about the keyhole.
Okay.
Oh,
You know,
keyhole?
and she's first trying to open his mind up to this idea, and she's showing him the books, and he's looking at them and like, really, I came all this way for you to tell me this garbage?
I could find this in a gift shop.
Right? Yeah. And then she sends him through all the dimensions, and she's like,
Did I do that in a gift shop?
yeah, could you find that in a gift shop? You know, I like that. Her introducing him to something bigger. That's good.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
got you.
appreciate. I appreciate.
We
you
took
giving
all
me
the good
thing.
characters. I'll give you the good scene.
Listen, that scene just is the best scene in the movie. Like it's not even close. So another thing that we haven't really talked about, because we kind of have talked this scene to death, but one of the nice little details is the lightning that is slowly coming and creeping into the frame. I think it's beautiful, and a lot of that is due to the Ancient One's dialogue, which we've already talked about. Death is what gives life meaning. We don't get to choose our time. I think that quote is so powerful for any moment in life. Anytime you're experiencing a tragedy of any kind, death is what gives life meaning. To know your days are numbered, your life is short. Like, there's so much that you can do. So much to that scene. That's why it's the best. But now we go scores. But before we give you ours, Micah has, of course, many to talk about.
So we have this thing called the Hollywood Reporter list. If you guys
Iconic.
don't know, they rank 70 Marvel movies, worst to best, and it could be a pretty good list, right? Except it's trash.
It's the worst list ever.
Where's Doctor Strange? Is it above or below Ant-Man?
Oh,
I mean, it should
we
be
did Ant-Man a
above.
few weeks ago. I don't remember where that one fell. We even had a.
I don't even know if I talked about it in the
I think we did. We always try to touch on this really great article that they put together.
Yes. I think it's above Ant-Man.
Above. Yeah.
Above? Okay.
Yeah.
Ant-Man is 11th place
Oh.
out of 70. Doctor Strange is 10th. Just
Wow.
under X-Men 1.
10?
They
10th place.
they went wild.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange 10th. Avengers
For those of you
Endgame.
new to the Hollywood
Yeah.
Reporter list, Endgame is 36.
Do you think we're going to have any movie that matches the place that they put it on their list
Right
with our
now,
list?
the Avengers could be close. They have it at number
Yeah, but
one.
that's not going to stay there.
It's not going to be the same.
No.
I have no idea which one could even be even close. Because the numbers all changed as we add more movies.
Right.
So Doctor Strange, let's go through all of our online scores. Rotten Tomatoes critic is at an 89. Audience is at an 86. Metacritic is a 72. Metacritic user 8.0. IMDb 7.5. And Letterboxd 3.5 out of 5. Averaging out to a 78.6 for our online score, placing it in 22nd place. Just
That's well above
under-
half,
Yeah. I don't know what the list is. I'm not going to reorganize it.
which I'm glad.
Yeah, 22nd place. That's not bad. It's like just underneath Far From Home and stuff. And Homecoming, according to the internet.
Ooh, I like that.
So
I like the
and
Far
Black
From Home
Panther's
gets
on
some
that same
love.
spot too. But yeah,
Okay.
who cares? We got some own
course.
scores.
I like to hear what the internet thinks, but
It don't matter.
It's what we think that matters.
This is
Shoot,
why,
what
this is
do
why
I
people
think?
have sat through an hour of podcast. Hear this part right here.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the good stuff. I always look forward to
good
it.
stuff.
Ethan. Woo, you're
Okay,
first.
Doctor Strange. Like I said, I really enjoy the character work in this movie. And I do think, yeah, you bring up some interesting points about the pacing, how it's a little quick at points. They throw a lot of lore in there. But I don't know, I still think I really like this movie. This was one of those movies that I was watching and I was looking at the visuals and what they were telling me and the writing of certain moments and certain scenes. And I was like, this is one of those movies that I think if it was not clumped inside the MCU, people would think about this. Like there'd be a core group of fans surrounding this movie that isn't MCU people
Yep.
that would really adore the magic and the world that this movie has to offer. And I think that all the credit to it. And like I said, the character work with Doctor Strange is really good. The Ancient One is really good. Even the little arc they give Mordo. And I like all that. And I don't really have too many negatives. Yeah. Mads Mikkelsen is a little, he's on the weaker side for sure. And Dormammu is kind of there. I mean, I love the time dilation though. I love the time stone, the introduction of that, all the magic, sling rings, the cloak of levitation. This is all stuff that I love so much. And I'm thinking about all this, looking at everything. And I think this is my second favorite origin film that we've hit on this list.
Ever?
Oh,
On the marathon. Yeah.
Wow.
Not just MCU. This is my second favorite. I think only other one for me that beats it is Iron Man. And I think I have Iron Man. Is that an 8.7?
Iron Man, you gave an 8.7.
8.7. Okay, it's not that high.
Guardians, you gave a 9.6.
Yeah.
Is
So
that Origin?
Guardians, I don't put as
Okay.
it's a little different. That's a group.
Yep.
And they're not really superheroes. They're a team. So if
Captain
we're
America,
counting that,
8.
yeah.
Spider-Man, 7.5. Thor, 7.5.
Yeah. So this one, I going 8.5.
8.5?
8.5.
Okay.
Doctor Strange. I enjoy this movie a lot more than my positives outweigh the negatives so far in this
Yeah.
movie. But it's not a 9. I like 8.5 right in the middle.
nice. Micah?
While you were saying that, I was thinking about what scores I should give it, and I realized I had a lot of the same things that I liked about this movie as I did with Thor. Remember I was talking about how the lore from Thor,
Yeah,
that rhymes,
Interesting.
of all that Norse mythology, super sick. They don't really use it after this movie. Same with this. I mean, like, he's got his cloak, he's got his stuff, he's got a sling ring. We don't really get to see any more really new sorcerer stuff after this. So with that, I've got like the same arguments for Thor as this movie. I'm realizing just now, why not the same score? 8.6.
Cool. Wow.
8.6.
Some high scores.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this
Doctor
movie's really
Strange.
solid.
Ben will bring
No,
some levity to the score.
It's good. You're not gonna. This is not a podcast where you're gonna find the deep hatred, because there are some people who I don't
Totally.
understand
Yeah.
that really do not like this movie. You go on Letterboxd, you'll see some pretty negative people. You're not gonna find that here. I think I have more problems than the other two gentlemen sitting next to me, but the positives, like Ethan said,
8.7, I'm
for
changing.
me, definitely outweigh the negatives. I think the pacing is off, and I think that Caecilius is definitely one of the weakest villains that we've had on this watch through. But other than that, and some humor that doesn't really land very well with me, I don't have a lot of bad things to say about Doctor Strange. I really like this movie. I think this movie does a lot for the MCU. I think it does a lot for filmmaking. This is one of those ones where it's like, you gotta probably see this in 3D. This is something that's worth
would
the
be a sick
3D
3D movie.
experience. And I think what they were able to achieve via special effects was truly outstanding. So with all of that in mind and the fantastic performances by Benedict Cumberbatch and Tilda Swinton in particular, I got to give this movie an 8. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, we got
So,
pretty good score on this one.
I'm actually going to update my score.
whoa.
I feel like I have a better appreciation for what Thor and Doctor Strange did because of how bold they were with their lore dumps and their just everything.
You're not updating your Thor score.
I can't update my
You
Thor
can't.
score.
You're not allowed.
I'm not allowed, but I can update my Doctor Strange score
You can
to an 8.8. I'm doing
Okay.
8.8. All right.
You were an 8.6 before.
I was an 8.6 before.
That
Bumped
point,
it up another
that point
0.2.
carries you. Yeah.
It does. It does. So with Ethan's 8.5, Ben with your 8, and me with my 8.8, that averages out to an 8.4 out of 10.
Pretty good.
Wow.
Pretty
That's pretty
solid
good.
movie,
Wow.
guys.
Yeah.
With that, we are getting to our.
Definitely has to be in
Ranking.
the top 10,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, do you think
so
so?
far?
Do you think
Gotta
so?
Be. Gotta be.
It's number 10.
Ooh.
It's number 10 and
Wow.
it kicked out.
It kicked out. Hold on. I'm changing some colors. All right. Number 11 now is Captain America First Avenger.
Oh, wow.
Kicked out.
Wow.
Rest in peace.
Dang.
Holy Trinity is no longer
You were good.
in the
Dang.
top 10. So we have, I guess Thor was gone too.
Were all the Cap movies in the top 10 though?
Cap, yeah, all 3
That
Cap.
was a yeah, wow.
That was our Holy Trinity right
Cap
there.
had a good run.
Cap had a great run.
And now Doctor Strange is on its left.
See, I'm glad it's in the top 10 though, because Doctor Strange I think deserves it. Doctor
You
Strange
want me to just
is
run
good.
through the top 10 real quick?
Yeah,
Run
read
through
'em.
it. Yep.
Number 10, Doctor Strange at an 8.4. Oh, hold on. Doctor
Whoa.
Strange is an 8.43. Age of Ultron also an 8.43.
Oh, so we got a tiebreaker.
We have
here.
a tiebreaker.
We got to
here.
break a tie.
All right, so our scores for Age of
Oh
Ultron.
man, hang on. I'm gonna have to look into this.
Ethan, you're at an 8. Ben, you're at an 8. And I'm at a 9.3. I was very high on Age of Ultron. Who's got our closest scores for these things? Let me. Yeah, Ethan, you've got our closest scores here. Your points are within half. Which one
Are
would
you
you
saying
say?
I'm the tiebreaker? Don't we all get a
Oh,
say?
no,
in
we
this?
all
all
get
get
a
a
vote.
say.
all get a
I
say in
say we
this.
all get a vote right now.
Okay. Are we saying which one is better?
Which one is better?
Okay.
You know what? I wanna put this above Age of Ultron. Me personally,
You're putting it above.
I
okay.
am. Yeah.
Micah?
I rated Age of Ultron a lot higher than this.
Okay, so
You were
okay, so
hot on
you would
Age of
say-
Ultron.
I'm hot on Age
Yeah.
of
Dude,
Ultron.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I gotta go with Doctor Strange. on
Really?
this one.
So I could see why going with Doctor Strange could be a pick because it's first recency bias, second because it's like you never would have thought that it would be head to head with an Avengers movie, right? But remember what Age of Ultron did too. We got Vision, right?
Right.
We had the sickness that was
Quicksilver.
Ultron.
The cool Quicksilver death.
I loved Ultron.
See,
We talked about how
I
Ultron
agree.
was so cool
But
as
I
a villain,
think-
right?
at a point in Age of Ultron, I was bored. And while certain elements are better than Doctor Strange, I never felt bored watching Doctor Strange. It's a much more personal tale, and I've seen the Avengers before. I know what that ensemble movie can do, and it's nothing against Age of Ultron. If you look at my personal list, I gave them the same score. Doctor Strange edges this out by ever so slightly, I think.
All right, Ben. So you're bumping up your Doctor Strange score to what? 0.1? 8.1?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I'm sticking with an 8. I don't like these points. I'll only go 0.5.
You need one. You need something to bump
need a
up though. You
0.1?
can bump mine up. Give me
All
a
right,
0.1 just to
8.6.
change the rating.
All right. So let's change our. Now it is 11 or 9th place.
Okay.
There it is.
We got it up a spot.
Which one's 10th? Oh, okay,
And
so
now
Age of
it's
Ultron.
tied with Iron Man 3.
Oh, what?
Let's go.
All right, we get it
Let's
two
keep
times
going.
in
I
one
mean, you guys are
podcast.
already here. You either stay. I mean,
No, this is good
you
stuff,
made it
though.
this far. Okay.
It's Iron Man 3 versus Doctor Strange
Iron Man
now.
3 versus Doctor Strange. This is fun. All right.
Ethan, what's it going to be?
Oh
I think
man,
I know.
and listen to these scores. All right, so Ethan Your Iron Man 3 score is an 8.5. Your Doctor Strange score is an 8.6. Ben,
But
your
I just
scores
changed
Your
that.
scores are
Yeah.
8s. Mine is an 8.9 for Iron Man 3 and an 8.8 for Doctor Strange. So Ben, this is your tiebreaker.
So, but again, I think we all do get one vote.
Okay.
If I'm gonna, I will go.
Ethan's score
Yeah.
is slightly higher for Doctor Strange in favor. Mine is Iron Man 3 in favor. Ben, yours is the same.
I'm going Doctor Strange.
You're going Doctor
for
Strange
sure.
still. You want it to keep climbing.
For sure, Doctor Strange is
Okay.
better than Iron
Climb the
Man 3.
ranking, man.
Climb the ranking. All right. Ethan?
Doctor Strange. Yeah,
Doctor
man.
I think you got to go
This
Doctor
keeps
Strange.
climbing. Yeah.
I mean, I would choose Doctor Strange over Iron Man 3
Yeah.
any day.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. What do I do? Do I just give it an 8.9 then?
Whatever is easiest in the spreadsheet.
Okay. I'll just give Ethan an 8.7.
Okay.
I'll just keep bringing yours up.
Keep-
All right.
Keep bringing my doctor. Oh, that's high though. I wouldn't give it that high. But whatever the spreadsheet demands,
Okay.
you know.
Now we're at an 8.5.
Let's go. Yeah.
That
What's it tied with now, Mike?
nothing. It's not tied with anything anymore. We're set.
This is all his grand plan to get
Okay.
my average score higher.
It is.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing. Your average
Nice.
score is still the
I
lowest
like it.
out of anyone
I
else's.
like it.
All right. Our final our final score is an 8.5, landing it solidly on 8th place.
8th place.
10th
Yeah.
place is Age of Ultron, an 8.43. Iron Man, 9th place, 8.46. Doctor Strange, our newcomer, at 8th place with an 8.5. Iron Man at an 8.8, 7th place. 6th place, Guardians of the Galaxy, 8.83. 5th place, Spider-Man 2, 8.9. 4th place, Days of Future Past,
Yeah.
9.1.
Nice.
3rd place, The Avengers, 9.43. Civil War, 2nd place, 9.46. And Winter Soldier,
Soldier.
1st place, 9.9 out of 10.
I'm so happy with our X-Men Days of Future Past. Every time
Yeah.
I hear that it's still in the top 5,
We
I'm like,
really have to watch the
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 road
road
cut.
cut. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
Every time I'm like, ooh, I agree. So final score, Doctor Strange, 8.7,
no, 8.5.
8.5.
8.5.
8.5.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's an 8th place.
I think
on
that's a
our
fair
list.
spot for Doctor Strange.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, the 8s are supposed to be like really good movies, but you know, there's room for improvement.
Right, and
it's not as bad as the good movies, right, can be. It's
No.
not a perfect movie. It's not one of those 9s.
We
But
have
it
to
definitely is
consider
up
we
there.
got some movies that are definitely gonna
Bangers.
definitely gonna kick this out.
And you know what's coming up next?
Oh yeah, I know what's coming up next.
I don't.
Ooh.
Micah,
What
go ahead
is?
and read what's next week.
Please.
The end of our Logan trilogy.
Oh,
Logan.
Logan is next week.
Dude, okay, so this is one of those movies that I put off because I wanted to watch it, but I've saved.
You knew the
for
marathon
this
was coming.
marathon.
Yeah.
Like
This was-
I've been wanting to watch this for a long time.
Yeah, I'll talk about this more next time, but this is one of the movies I watched with my dad during our X-Men watch through
Dude.
for the first time.
I'm hyped for Logan, man.
This may have been one of the Netflix rentals
Yeah.
from when it was DVD. Rest in peace.
Blockbuster.
Ooh, I own
Also,
this
Doctor
one, yeah.
Strange rounds out 2016, making it 8.125 out of 10 for the whole year, putting it in 2nd place for best year.
Nice.
What's first place best year?
That'll be 2014, because Winter Soldier pretty
We
much.
had a good amount in 2016. What
Yeah, we
was
did.
it? We had Deadpool.
That was Winter Soldier, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Days of Future Past, Guardians, Big Hero 6. Solid lineup.
What year was that?
2014.
So now we're going into 2017. How many movies are there? Don't tell
4.
me what they are. 4. Okay. 4, that's it?
Pretty easy guess though.
Because then 2018 is Infinity War.
Yeah.
That means
My theory is they were trying to round this up before COVID happened, and
Whoa.
conspiracy.
Whoa, whoa,
hat is on.
Oh
They
man,
knew.
let's
Whatever.
not get political here,
Yeah.
folks. This is the
I
end
know
of
it's
the
not
podcast.
true.
I mean, it is 11:40, so maybe we can get political. I don't know.
Yeah, welcome to the Joe Rogan cast.
The after show, multiverse monologues.
Multiverse
political
After Dark.
monologues. Oh yeah.
But yes,
The post-credit scene.
look forward to Logan next week. I know I am.
That
That's
would be
for
a
sure.
cool podcast name. The post-credit scene.
There's probably one out there.
Gotta be. Listen, from the stuff that I saw today, there's gotta be a post-credit scene podcast out there.
Some
or
dude's
something like
listening to
that.
this before he goes to bed, and he's just like almost asleep, and he's waking up. He's
Can
like, "What
these
are they
guys
talking about?"
Please shut up.
Turn us off then. Come on.
No.
If you made it this far,
Why
write
would
us a
you-
review.
You've already
Why
helped
would you
our
wanna do
engagement
Write us a
ratings.
review. Yeah, our analytics
come
are
on,
going
come on.
wild.
Get us to 500
Nobody.
subs on
I say
on
this
YouTube.
every week.
Yeah.
If you're still watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up.
Holy cow.
I never get any thumbs up, so I know no one's here.
Here.
Thank you, Micah.
There's your thumbs up.
Thumbs up, man. Oh, man.
Here, one over here too. There you go.
Takes
There
a
we
lot to
go.
be a top 50 multiverse podcast.
And we are in the top 50 multiverse podcasts.
2017, guys.
That is true. We're in 2017. So look forward to Logan next week.
That's 6
Otherwise, it's
2017
late
was
enough.
6 years ago.
This has been Rayside.
I'm Ethan Wentzloff.
This is Dr. Micah Het.
Signing off. We all hope you have an absolutely fantastic day.